As with every new patch, the new 1.6 or well 1.6.1 patch to the finals features a lot of undocumented changes to the game, that being either bugs, changes that were intentionally omitted, or just changes that Embark, for whatever reason, forgot to include into the notes. As I mentioned, we're now on 1.6.1, which was a quick hotfix patch for a large patch we saw last Wednesday, that being 1.6.0, where the crossplay matchmaking was bugged, the F-core damage was restored to its pre-nerf damage, and a few other recent changes had been reverted. But they didn't catch everything. So let's jump right into the undocumented changes in 1.6.0 and 0.1 that you weren't told about. First off is a change that really affects me as a heavy. For whatever reason, it seems like the self-damage from the RPG and even C-Force may have been increased, or at the very least the range. More often than not, I throw nukes out or shoot a RPG and still get one shot despite the target being almost miles away from me, or at the very least at distances that normally would put me at half health at most. While some of my viewers in the Twitch chat speculated that maybe the C4 has been falling off of the tank, I think that the damage range just has been changed without them telling us. And even though that's more or less unconfirmed, is really only speculation by now, and I don't really have anything else to go by than my gut and a lot of experience nuking people, there are some more tangible changes to recon census that we haven't been told about. The first change that I noticed is that you can now immediately toggle the recon census on and off. Previously you had to wait a brief moment between toggling, but now you can keep going as much as you want. Though obviously toggling will deplete your recon census down really fast, so there's not really any point to doing this. But it does feel a lot more responsive than the last version. On the contrary, I've also noticed that the recon census now take up to half a second or so before activating. You can be right in front of an enemy with a wall in between the two of you, and despite you toggling the recon census on with them going on cooldown, you need to wait before they're actually revealed. This makes quickly toggling them on and off not really worth it. And if that isn't enough, it seems like in addition to this bug, the recon census straight up don't show enemies sometimes. I have had several instances of me fighting an enemy who's right in front of me, only to have the recon census never showing them for the entire duration of it being active. I'm not sure what is going on with the recon census, but they are certainly not reliable. I really do think that recon still is an incredibly strong specialization, but until they fix these bugs, it will be really hard to depend on it. Next up, as for heavy, tons of heavy mains have reported that mantling don't seem to be working the way it should. Performing a stair climb seems stiffer, and you need to approach them from a different angle if you want to actually pull them off at a decent or even moderate speed. With some practice, I've kind of gotten it down to the same speed as the old stair mantle by adjusting the angle which I pull off the stairwell climb, as well as timing the climb cancels a lot sooner. But if you're having issues, that is probably why. In addition to mantling and climbing seeing a change, with the changes to climbing and mantling, you can no longer do the window climb onto a slanted roof anymore, or well, most of the time you can't. And if you do manage to pull it off, you need to time the forward input that starts the climb at a pixel perfect timing. This is probably a bug, so I hope Embark fixes that soon as well. And before I continue with the rest of the undocumented changes, this video has taken quite a few days to put together because I've had to find everything myself. If you guys want to help me and the rest of the community with sniffing out more undocumented changes that have been put into the game, make sure that you join my Discord at discord.gg/Ottr, where you can post any new changes that you have noticed in the undocumented changes channel. Your help will get the word sent out a lot faster. And if this video has helped you shed some light on why the game might not be acting the way you expect it to, leaving a like helps out a ton as well. But moving on, leaving a tourney where your teammates now have left no longer gives you a penalty, so finally there's no more punishments for people giving up. There's a bug in the game where for whatever reason at the end of the game you can be awarded with the maximum possible experience. One guy on Reddit got 129,000 experience points after one game, and another managed to get the entire 997,000 experience points needed to cap out to max level as well. It seems to be giving you the maximum possible experience that you have left until you cap out your level, so if anyone's looking to level up as fast as possible, I guess be on the lookout. I'm also personally having a lot of issues with long loading times, to the point where I'll be stuck in loading screens after games have started, and I even ran into a situation where I was sitting in the loading screen so long that when I eventually force quit, you know, Alt F4 the game and came back into the game, according to the game I'd left and I had received a penalty. So if you think you've been sitting in the loading screen a little bit too long, force quit your game and start it back up, and odds are it's already started and your teammates are waiting for you. I haven't found a permanent fix other than staying alert and aware of it. If it happens in the first round of a tournament, it seems to continue throughout the entire tournament as well. So the second you get to a loading screen, quickly restart your game, and if you are lucky, you won't even miss the loadout select screen. For some reason, I've also found that sometimes you can load into a lobby where where everyone is sort of teleporting or shifting around for no reason. Not sure what causes this, but I've had to suffer through an entire tournament with both the indefinite load-in bug, plus this. We've won, by the way, so I figured it was worth mentioning. Another huge change or bug that I've seen to heavy is that for whatever reason, the flamethrower now goes through not only walls, but also shields. Last time I checked, it was not supposed to be doing that. So it can be pretty valuable to run a flamethrower with 1 or 2 heavies as a counter to tons of barriers, at least until it is fixed. Some other smaller bugs include some type of odd glitch or bug where you will keep hearing gunfire from a weapon that has previously stopped firing if you're spectating a teammate, unless you swap your perspective from one teammate to another. And of course, who hasn't noticed the random, super loud noises that apparently play from the M11 from time to time. Another bug, or maybe even exploit, allows you to use recon senses and even invisibility permanently. I am not entirely sure if this can intentionally be pulled off or not, but seeing as reports are picking up, odds are there is a way to exploit it. I don't recommend using this bug if you figure out how it works, because odds are you might see a ban on your account for doing so. In addition to being able to stay permanently invisible, this seems to be the same exploit that allows the users to keep shooting as they remain invisible. Users are also reporting a new launch screen animation, which has the announcers acting strange, with some interesting hints on the screen about seeking the truth beyond the walls, continuing the hunt, the ARG towards the secret lore that this game has to offer. Really reminds me of Westworld, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Lights out in the arena. From all of us here at the finals, thanks for watching.
And we're out.
Time for an Us Boost Pro Juice.
You actually drink those?
Wouldn't want Sophia to hear you say that.
Oh, she has enough on her plate with the recent hacks. Trust me.
They're not hacks, June. They're glitches. Besides, Holto's not worried.
They don't run the show, they just sponsor it. Someone put those messages in the system.
You worry too much.
You keep telling yourself that, Scotty. The writing's on the wall. Literally.
The medium grenade launcher has seen a new bug which effectively nerfs its effective damage, where it now only deals full damage for a direct hit if you hit the enemy at certain angles. And lest who could forget, the effectiveness of the sword lunge has been nerfed due to what I assume was the double hit exploit you could do with the right shield. You can no longer pop a bunny hop combo after lunging and swapping between your gadgets, which I guess makes sense, but it's sad to see that they're removing some cool looking tech, especially when it comes to enabling such high skill weapons as the sword. And of course, something I noticed after reporting one of the many cheaters I've run into on my stream, you apparently no longer need to fill in a description when you're doing a report. Which is great, because previously, for whatever reason, they kept forcing you to put something in the description box whenever you filled out a report, which was a super annoying and unnecessary step, especially when you were tilted or annoyed after dealing with a cheater. Personally, this is one of the best changes to this patch, because it makes being a good citizen and reporting the cheaters a lot less of a headache. And those were all of the undocumented changes that I've found for this version of the finals. Odds are there are going to be more changes this Wednesday, and some of the things that we mentioned might be patched up. So if you want to stay in the know, make sure you subscribe, make sure to join the Discord to make sure we can stay on top of these bugs, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.